tension may have erupted.
And the Nigeria Air Force.
The emergency landing of a Nigerian military plane in western Burkina Faso has reignited tensions between Abuja and the Alliance of Sahel States, or AES.
The Alliance of Sahel States, AES, made up of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, has released one of its most forceful statements since the bloc's creation. And the tone is unmistakable, firm, unapologetic, and anchored in a new political reality taking shape across the Sahel. According to the declaration, a Nigerian military aircraft landed at Burkina Faso's Bobo Dioulasso airport without seeking authorization, without informing the Burkinabe authorities, and without any diplomatic communication to the AES governments. For the alliance, this was not a minor oversight, nor an emergency that justified skipping procedure. They describe it as a deliberate violation of Burkina Faso's airspace, a direct challenge to national dignity, and an unacceptable breach of international law. This incident arrives at a delicate moment in West Africa, and it touches a nerve at the very heart of what Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have been preaching since their political transitions began: the defense of sovereignty. These three governments came to power promising to restore territorial control, push out foreign interference, and end years of insecurity. To them, sovereignty is not a slogan. It is their political identity, their justification for rejecting ECOWAS sanctions, and the foundation of their new regional alliance. So when a military jet from a neighboring power enters their skies unannounced, they interpret it as an attack on that identity. A line has been crossed. The AES leadership insists that international aviation law is extremely clear on this matter. No military aircraft, under any circumstances, may enter the airspace of another sovereign nation without explicit authorization. This is a universal rule that even global superpowers adhere to. For the Sahel Alliance, the Nigerian aircraft did not merely violate a technical procedure, it violated the dignity of Burkina Faso and undermined the principle of mutual respect that holds regional peace together. And they say they will not allow such an action to be normalized. In its response, the AES did not speak with hesitation. It issued a firm operational directive to its militaries. Any foreign aircraft entering their territory without permission will be intercepted, confronted, and, if necessary, shot down. This is not diplomatic theater. According to the alliance, this is an enforceable military order, and their forces are on full alert to execute it. The seriousness of this instruction signals a new phase in West African geopolitics. The region is entering an era where power blocs are redefining themselves and where the meaning of sovereignty is being rewritten by countries that feel they have been ignored, undermined, or dominated for far too long. To understand why the AES reacted with such intensity, it is important to revisit the political backdrop. In recent years, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have all undergone military takeovers backed by populations who were frustrated with insecurity, corruption, and what many viewed as ineffective leadership aligned too closely with foreign partners. After being sanctioned and politically isolated by ECOWAS, the three states withdrew from the bloc entirely, accusing it of losing credibility and allowing foreign powers to influence its decisions. The AES was then born not only as a political alliance, but as a declaration of independence from traditional regional dynamics. Within this context, the unauthorized landing of a Nigerian military aircraft takes on a much deeper meaning. For the AES commanders, military airspace is sacred territory. It is the line that separates sovereignty from intrusion, dignity from disrespect. And because the alliance views Nigeria as a regional heavyweight, one with significant military capacity and geopolitical ambition, the incident raises even more suspicion. They question publicly why the Nigerian Air Force, which has sophisticated communication systems, experienced pilots, and diplomatic channels readily available, would enter a neighboring country without proper clearance. To them, this could not have been an accident. The AES statement demands full explanation from Nigeria. They insist that the aircraft did not land in a random location, but at one of Burkina Faso's major airports. They argue that the Nigerian military knows exactly where its aircraft are at all times, and that no flight path is chosen without intention. This, they say, is what makes the situation alarming. If a powerful nation can violate their airspace once, what prevents it from doing so again? And what other countries might follow that example if the incident goes unchallenged? The Sahel Alliance warns that ignoring such behavior opens the door to covert operations, spying missions, or interference in military activities, particularly sensitive in a region where counterterrorism operations are ongoing daily. They argue that unauthorized flights could compromise security missions, expose troop movements, and create vulnerabilities in areas already threatened by insurgent groups. For countries that have spent years fighting to regain control of their territory, the skies are now the final frontier that must be protected without compromise. This is why the AES has placed its air defense units on heightened alert, radar surveillance has been tightened, communication protocols have been reinforced, interception units are on standby. The alliance wants to send a clear message. West Africa is no longer living in an era where stronger states can cross borders freely or where smaller nations must accept violations silently. For the Sahel bloc, the days of bowing to external pressure, regional or foreign, are over. The AES statement also touches on a deeper frustration, the long-standing imbalance of power in West Africa. Nigeria, as the region's most populous country and largest economy, has historically played a dominant role in regional politics. But the new Sahel leaders argue that dominance does not equal entitlement. They reject any suggestion that smaller states must tolerate negligence or disrespect simply because of size or influence. In their declaration, they remind the continent that dignity is not calculated by GDP or military ranking. It is defined by a nation's willingness to defend its sovereignty at all costs. This confrontation is therefore not only about an aircraft, it is about identity, pride, and the emergence of a new geopolitical force. The AES wants Africa and the world to understand that the Sahel is not a vacuum to be managed, not a playground for external powers, and not a region where borders can be crossed without consequence. They want to redefine African diplomacy by injecting a firm principle. African countries must respect African sovereignty. If foreign powers have violated African borders for decades, Africans must not repeat the same behavior among themselves. Now all eyes are on Nigeria. How will Abuja respond? Will it deny the incident, dismiss the allegations, provide a justification, or engage in diplomacy? Each possible response carries implications for regional stability. A denial may escalate tensions. An apology could de-escalate them. A justification could create new uncertainty. And silence would provoke more questions. But one thing is certain. The AES has made its position crystal clear. There will be no negotiation on the issue of sovereignty. Across the continent, analysts are watching closely because this incident has become a symbolic turning point. It tests the cohesion of the AES alliance. It tests Nigeria's diplomatic posture. It tests the region's ability to avoid unnecessary escalation. But above all, it tests Africa's new era of political awakening, where states, regardless of size or power, demand respect and equality in all interactions. As the story continues to develop, the AES message remains unwavering. Their skies are not open to unauthorized flights. Their sovereignty is not up for debate. Their dignity cannot be violated without consequence. Whether the Nigerian aircraft landed intentionally or by mistake, the Sahel Alliance has chosen to treat this as a defining moment, an opportunity to reinforce their independence, assert their authority, and demonstrate that the era of ignoring smaller nations is ending. In the final lines of their statement, the alliance delivered one of its strongest declarations to date. If any military aircraft from any country, including Nigeria, enters the territory of Niger, Mali, or Burkina Faso without authorization, it will be considered a hostile act. The aircraft will be intercepted, it will be confronted, and if necessary, it will be destroyed. The Sahel skies, they say, belong to the AES, and they will defend them without hesitation, without apology, and without fear.